All right.
We're live.
Welcome to the couch.
Welcome to the couch. So you get comfy.
All right, there we go.
The blacks kind of make us look like we disappeared.
Yeah. So this is our first episode in a while, and we're getting to do it from from a couch this time.
Yeah. Our new couch in our new place in South Carolina.
Yeah. All right. So this is my idea, wasn't it? Yeah.
What's up? What's on your mind?
All right. So I was thinking about this early in the morning, and there were two topics that I was thinking of. I can only remember what one of them are. So.
Okay, I think I remember both of them.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll tell you what the other one is.
Okay, so one of them is dog training, and just kind of talking about how far we've come and where things were. You know, 'cause we've had a lot of dogs in the 15 years we've been together, and we've had some hardship when it came to dogs. We've had some struggles, and we're going through. We just got a new dog. Her name's Riley, and she's got a lot of energy. She's a very high energy dog, and right now we're going through boot camp with her, which is basically she has a very structured schedule in order to ensure that she's learning all of her commands. She knows who's the leader, who the leaders are in the house, teaching her that she has to look to us for everything that she does, so that she relies on us and that she doesn't have the freedom to kind of make decisions, because when she makes decisions, she gets all barky and she likes to run away.
She has bad recall.
Yeah, she's got a lot of things, and so we're working with her. And there's been a lot of, it's a very different experience, I think, for us than it has been in the past.
Yeah.
And so, there's two reasons for wanting to do this. One is like the laptop couples therapy, but also as something for, because I'm in a bunch of Facebook groups for people doing dog training, and there's people who are running into issues of communicating with their partner, because their partners have one idea about what it means to train a dog, and then the person in the groups has a different idea.
Really? That's what you've been running into in this?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
And so.
Was it anything like us?
Yeah, very similar.
Okay.
I know this dog needs more. I know this dog needs more structure. I know this dog needs more training, and often male partners seem to want to treat the dogs like kids, and not treat them like the dangerous animals that they are.
Interesting. Okay.
And so this is something that, I think we dealt with. So we had dogs sort of in a previous lifetime. When we lived up in Seattle, we had some dogs, and we loved them, but we ended up having some tragedies with them. And there was, and at the time, there was issues in terms of training. There was things that, I would want to implement, and there would be resistance from your side. And would that be fair?
That's a nice way of putting it.
Okay.
I would describe it differently.
Okay, how would you describe it?
I would make snide remarks about the warden giving the inmates more time in the yard. That's an easy one that I remember, but there were a lot of other things, and I can't remember what the specifics were. Mm-hmm. But it was comments that really tore down this whole project from my side. I wasn't very disciplined, and I'm still working on this. I was just lazy, and I figured we had a yard and a fence. The dogs are taken care of. But that's not how this works. Dog ownership requires a certain amount of discipline and responsibility. Like you said, it's an animal with teeth, and you have to take that seriously, even if it's a Chihuahua. But especially if it's a Chihuahua, you see poorly behaved tiny dogs all the time. Those people aren't going to train their dogs, and people who take this seriously, like they understand the nature of their animal, and they take that role very seriously. And I didn't take it seriously at all. And when I saw you taking it seriously, I tore you down. And I think it was just because I was lazy. I didn't want to do the work. I was like unstructured and undisciplined in my own stuff. And I had plenty of structure and discipline in other aspects of my life, right? But it just didn't apply to this, because it's kind of like, I think we all get to this point where it's like, okay, I got the job, I got the wife, I got the family, I got the dogs, I'm done now, right? I can focus on work, and then that's it. And I remember being very tired after work. So it's not like I had a whole lot to spend on this project, right, to begin with. And so I didn't know how to articulate that, and it just came off as shitty attitude. So do you find that it's typically the guy that's tearing the woman down, or does it work both ways, or does the woman do it differently?
So far, what I've seen is a couple of different situations where it's like it typically, or so far I've seen a few women where it's like, I'm going to show this post to my husband, or I'm going to, or I wish you could talk to my husband or my partner or my fiance or whatever, and explain these things to him.
Explain what we're talking about.
Yeah, like that it's a dangerous animal, and in one particular case, it was a woman who was talking about how her fiance had a pit bull, and like, we raise pit bulls. I love them. They are wonderful dogs, and they are a lot of responsibility, and they are very dangerous animals. And in this case, so this woman was saying that, they had a young child, like 11 months old, and she was trying to put in boundaries for this dog, and her husband would say, or her husband or her fiance or whatever would say things like, he treated the dogs like kids, and didn't want, and got frustrated with her for setting boundaries around the dogs, and said, they're just good kids, they're good dogs. And she's worried that something bad's going to happen with their 11-month-old child. And that's a reasonable expectation. And it sounds like he was fighting her. And my experience was, when you had that bad attitude, it's like I had the best of intentions, and there was a limit to what I could do. And at the time, I didn't know how to, I didn't have the recognition to say, that you had done that you were doing that. Like I didn't know that you were undermining my ability to do that. And I felt I felt a tremendous amount of guilt over the tragedies that we had with our dogs, and that because I thought I was just lazy, and not, because I would reach a limit where I couldn't fight it. I couldn't.
You couldn't do the training, which is already hard. It's an emotional hard thing to do. And deal with me not helping. And,
I didn't know how to do both, and so I would give up. And
doing a lot better this time.
So this time around, things are going a lot better, and there's a lot more, and being able to have a lot more communication around. It's like, because one of the things you got to do is spend a period of time where the dog is the only interaction they're getting is their commands, where you're basically like putting them in this very structured program, and all they get is commands for a period of time, for like a week. And that's hard, because you've kind of built a relationship with the dog, and it's like, oh, okay, I want to snuggle with her, or I want to, I talk to my dogs. I talk to my dogs. I talk for them. I do those things. And for a period of time, not doing that, and not getting that feedback from her that she still loves, that she still loves me. And that's a hard thing. That's a difficult thing. And I think we've both struggled with that during this week, because it's like, it brings up, there's a lot of projection onto the dog of like somehow she thinks we're punishing her, and you know, she'll come out and she'll start wagging her tail, and it's clear that she's not, you know, traumatized or miserable or anything like that. But
she gets a ton of treats too.
Yeah, she
So,
gets a ton of treats.
when she's training, she gets a ton of treats.
Yeah.
So
you know, I don't think, you know, 10 years ago, we didn't have the language to talk about all of these things.
Yeah, I don't know if having better language would have fixed anything from this side of the fence. Like, you could have had the prettiest language ever. I don't think it would have mattered.
I think that there would have been a difference if, like, you had been able to articulate what you
okay.
were, like.
But you're kind of making the assumption if we knew then what we know now.
Right, exactly.
Of course things would have been better, right? Yeah. Obviously, because they're better now.
Right.
But it's hard to make that statement. So the only thing we can do is kind of try to help the people that are going through this now.
Yeah.
And I think the big misconception of stoicism is you can't have feelings. But I think stoicism for me is like, you have to allow people to fail. It's okay to fail. Mm-hmm. And the only way to get the wisdom is to fail. Yeah. So they have to fail. Yeah. And it sucks, but if you can survive that, then you'll learn, well, hopefully. Yeah. Learn this. Yeah. Like, don't let the mistake go to waste. Do something with it.
Well, and they're sharing the wisdom that we've learned. And I think,
sure, you know, but like
we don't
it's like documentation. Nobody's gonna read it until they need it.
True.
And even when they need it, they're not gonna read it anyway. Yeah. So
well, and I think, you know,
that's what stoicism is.
What is
stoicism is the underlying belief that nobody is going to read the documentation, no matter what you do, no matter how many of these videos that we put out, no matter how many books are written about this. It's not as valuable as you going through the experience yourself. And I see this at work every day. I document the crap out of stuff. I write ticket after ticket after ticket. Guarantee you, what people do is they don't go to the tickets. They don't go to the books. They don't go to the learning. Mm-hmm. They have to experience it for themselves. Yeah. They call me up. We do a Slack call. We go over it. They're able to embody the information through a conversation where we can see each other's faces. They get the information in a way that's completely different than reading or hearing it. Mm-hmm. They embody it, they become it, and then they live it. Yeah. Yeah. That's stoicism for me. don't bother documenting anything because it's not going to work. Except for doing this. This is obviously valuable. It's nothing else for us.
It is for us.
Yeah, it is for us.
Well, and I think that, you know, we don't have kids. We have our dogs, but
we apparently just pick them up off the street now.
Yeah. Yeah. This dog came off the street.
Slack one day. Bring me meat. Okay. Great. Hop in the van, found her with some meat.
But so we don't have kids, and yet at the same time, one of the things that we're walking through is learning how to co-parent with each other. To say, like, you know, to talk about the emotions that are coming up in the process of doing discipline.
I believe in stoicism. I don't have emotions. Kidding.
This comes from the guy of, I want to pet her because.
Well, I created a code name for her because I still wanted to talk to my dog.
Yeah.
We needed a way to say her name without saying her name, so she's Private Noir.
Her name's Riley, but
yeah,
we call her
Private Noir. She's in boot camp, right? So she's a private.
And she's a little black dog, so
Private Noir
makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, so you make up ways around it.
The other day, I went to I was going to snuggle her and give her some pets and stuff in her kennel. So I thought, oh, she'll never know. She'll never know.
I was taking a nap.
It's all good. She'll never know. But then I was like, no, that ruins the whole training, man. This is a team effort. Yeah. If I do that, it might set her back, you know, or give her the wrong message or put me as the patsy or something. So yeah, it's like this totally different attitude than before. Because before I would have just let her out and be like, what's the big deal, man? Who cares? Yeah. Like, she's been in the kennel all day. Like, Have some compassion, right?
Right.
And then you're like, well, if I'm trying to have compassion by training the damn dogs.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works.
And there were times where like having some compassion, it like I would take that to heart, and that, you know, and like that was the thing that I didn't, you know, is I didn't know how to, I don't know if stand up is the right word, but resist, or I didn't have a strong enough sense of who I was and what I was doing to not take some of those digs personally.
Well, it would have been really tough because I think at that time you were working a corporate job too, weren't you? So
Yep.
we were both working these jobs, both getting really tired,
Yep.
both dealing with the dogs. That's just a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Can't imagine what it would be like with throwing a kid in there too.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Craziness. So that was the one. So that's the one topic I remember. You said you think you know what the other topic is.
Money stuff.
Oh yeah, we could talk about that.
All right.
I might have control issues when it comes to money. What?
I never thought of that as control issues. Can I offer a reframe?
Yeah, you cannot. That is my interpretation of it, and that is my way of like.
I think if you had control issues, we wouldn't have spent like 3 or 4 years where you just didn't care about the finances at all.
No, that was me going sort of the exact opposite, because
a control issue would manifest over that.
Yeah.
I think. But I always see these conversations with you as resource issues.
Yeah. Scarcity.
Yeah,
scarcity over resources. Like resource guarding, I guess, would be which is an interesting, dogs resource guard, humans resource guard. We're like, wait, I might not have enough. I have to hold on.
Mm-hmm.
And
I have less of this because of the way I grew up.
Yeah.
We never had resource problems.
And I didn't have resource problems growing. But
there was the start.
Yeah, I didn't have, like, I grew up with abundance, and yet at the same time there was comments made that made it seem like there was resource issues, and so that created within me a fear of lack, of not having enough.
And it's possible those comments happened in my house too. I just didn't notice it because maybe you could get away with that with boys.
Yeah, it's possible. That's.
Oh my God, you boys are eating this out of house and home. Here, have some more. Eat some more. Here's some more beans.
Right. Yeah.
So, just a different thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, we had what I'm going to say is a fight this morning. Our fights are just so boring
in comparison to what they were 10 years ago.
They would be drawn out for weeks.
Months.
Oh yeah. Oh, you want to fight about that? All right, fine. You win. If you had a TV crew following us around with our fights, it'd just be like, God, these are just the healthiest people ever. This is gross entertainment. I don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
It's so boring.
Yeah.
Our ratings would suck.
Yeah.
But we had like just a disagreement about stuff, and she was making comments, and I think it came down to like you were having some feelings around the resource stuff.
Yeah.
I think, and this is just my interpretation of it. And the argument came down to she wants to go spend $60 on Christmas lights, and I'm going to go spend about $500 on gift cards for Christmas. I'm donating a couple hundred to a family in need, and then we always send some to the family. $10, $25 gift certificates to the family, and then some others to this family that just lost their parents. Mm-hmm. And a 21-year-old is taking care of her 3 siblings.
Yeah.
So I'm sending them some charity.
You have a very generous spirit. And
so $64 versus $400 or $500.
Well, so to back up this story, we spent like the first 10 years 10 years or so, 9 or 10 years that we were together, I meticulously tracked the finances. Mm-hmm. Very detailed. I knew every detail of all our finances. And then I sort of lost my shit excuse my language, but I lost my mind and basically had to, I couldn't deal with the finances. I couldn't handle any of it. I was making mistakes. There was a rent check that didn't get, there was an issue with a rent check at one point that created some issues. But essentially that was the point at which I said, I can't handle it. I couldn't deal with it anymore. And so I stopped. So I handled it all off to him because I couldn't do it. Now the interesting thing is that during all that time when I handled it with him, I tried to, I would try to have conversations about the finances, and it was not something that we were ever able to kind of go one way or the other, or get to a place where we were working on it together. And so I think what happened needed to happen, whereas I kind of backed off and you took over.
Yeah.
And so then
I could see it in the context of what we started talking about. It's almost like dog training. You have to have someone that's pack master doing all the commands and the work and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot more work, but it kind of has to be done by one person.
Yeah.
It's hard to do it with two people.
Yeah. And so I sort of took a step back and haven't done a lot. But then recently I've started re-engaging with some of the finances. But when it comes to that stuff, it is
great timing. Right as we move, she gets re-engaged.
Yeah, right as we move, I start.
Why are we spending so much money? Because we moved.
Yeah, we spent a lot of money moving, and so I re-engaged, and there's this compulsion in me with it, and there's this something in me that drives me to be very neurotic about it. That's the best description. There's a little bit of neuroses when it comes to that, and I don't.
The great saying that I've heard more than once is that a company makes whatever the CEO measures.
Right.
And so if you're the CEO right now, and you're measuring our finances, that's what you're creating in our marriage.
Okay. All right.
So the trick is just stop measuring it.
Right.
Just take the tools away from the CEO.
Yeah.
Because then you'll measure other things.
And ultimately, when I stepped away from the finances and I wasn't tracking them, so things were going great. Things were going fine.
See, I'm telling you.
And there's a certain amount of trust and there's a trust. And sometimes that trust is easier. There was a period of time where it's I didn't have a choice. I had to trust him because I was not capable of doing it because I had health issues that I had to deal with. But now I don't have quite so many health issues, but now I'm still having to make that choice of trusting. And that's hard. When it comes to money and trusting a partner, that can be.
I want to throw some more clarification in there. Okay, here's the thing though. Yes, it's hard to trust, but you look at this dog thing again, right? It was probably hard for you to engage in this because you remember the old times, right? It's easier to trust when the other person is doing the job and taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Right. So it's easier to trust me with financial stuff when I'm able to have conversations with you about it that are feelings based.
Yeah.
And that I'm taking care of the finances and that I have a plan and that I know where things are. I take this very seriously.
Yeah.
I think to some degree that makes it easier for you to trust.
Yeah.
If that trust isn't there, if the other person isn't taking shit seriously, that trust is very difficult to attain.
Yeah, and I think maybe there's a part of me that isn't 100% sure that you're taking it seriously, and that's
well, my personality is kind of geared towards that.
Yeah,
I do take it seriously, but there is only so much I can do during the day.
Yeah,
I think you would probably feel better in a certain weird way if I was neurotic about this and freaking out about it just a little bit, because I think that's what's missing.
Mm-hmm.
I have a pretty good attitude about this because I always trust that things are going to work out in the end.
Yeah,
they always do. Well,
and I think part of the lesson I think that comes up for both of us is is often I'm learning from you to not be so neurotic,
mm-hmm.
and you're learning from me to be a little more neurotic.
Yeah.
And neurotic, people might take offense to neurotic, and it's.
But I think in this case is you have to be confident that I am taking this seriously
Yes.
and I'm not going to slip in the details.
Yeah.
That's important for anybody to know.
Yeah.
I'm trusting you that you're going to do the dog stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you are.
Yeah.
Right? And I trust that.
Yeah.
There's a confidence thing that I have, which is kind of a privilege, I guess, like a confidence privilege.
Uh-huh.
I think this has come up in our marriage so many times. I have this weird foundational confidence in life that I carry with me.
Yeah.
That makes me like a rock.
Yeah.
You like that sometimes, but you like it less sometimes.
Well,
it kind of depends. It's like,
and I think sometimes I lose track of, there's times when recently when I've come to you and I've been able to say, I'll just ask, are we safe?
mm-hmm.
And I'll just,
I'm typing away. Are we safe? Yeah, we're fine.
And getting that reassurance. And there's, I think I'm getting into more nuanced things about how my nervous system responds during, we'll just say, different times of the month and all of that stuff. And that's a reality. It's a reality of what happens when,
we're not allowed to say anything about
it. No, you're not.
Stay in my lane.
I can be more neurotic at certain times of the month, and that's just a reality.
I think it's far more nuanced than that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But, learning how to, like, at certain times come to you and get some help with helping my nervous system and my body and the part, because my brain will know that I'm safe, but my body, like,
your heart, we look at our Fitbits, like her heart's beating faster at a certain time of the month. It's pretty consistent. So
yeah,
you think about your heart beating just a little bit faster during the day, your body might pick up on that as like an anomaly.
Yeah.
And like, well, the heart's beating fast, so maybe I should find something to be worried about. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's what's supposed to be happy. Like, and your brain's like, finances, a dog, a house. Like, just find something.
Yeah, all of those different things. And so,
it's fun in this house. I'm so glad I work from home.
You handle it well. You handle it really well.
For the points.
And so, you do an amazing job of handling it. And there are times when I'll come to you and I'll be like, I need help. And you help. And sometimes I can't always detach from the details of the thing that I get obsessed with.
We did that this morning.
And so that happens. And so I think that's it.
Yeah. You're done with the couch?
Yeah, I think so. You look like you're getting tired. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
late.
8:30.
Yeah. But I don't know if anybody will ever watch this, but maybe there's some helpful things in here.
Hopefully.
All right. Bye.
Bye from the couch.
Bye from the couch.